To the outside world, Gabby and Brian seemed like a picture-perfect couple. A beautiful, young, and ambitious woman documenting their cross-country road trip across the beautiful landmarks of America in their custom-made camping van, aspiring to be a successful travel YouTuber. Determined to garner an audience for their road trip, and an audience she sure gathered when she went missing. One of the most chilling parts about Gabby's disappearance was the amount of red flags prior and traces of suspicious activity left behind in her social media posts leading up to her disappearance and eventual death. Gabby Petito was an artistic, creative, and a free-spirited girl. She was the eldest of the 6 siblings and also appeared in a music video with stepbrothers to raise awareness on gun violence in response to the Sandy Hook incident. In March of 2019, when she just turned 20, Gabby began dating Brian Laundrie and moved in with him and his parents in Northport, Florida. By June of 2020, the couple is now engaged, and shortly after a few months, Gabby, with the money that she saved up for the last 2 years working as a hostess at a restaurant, purchases a 2012 Ford Transit Connect van and converts it to a camper. And by July of 2021, the pair depart on their cross-country journey across America. The trip started off well, with the couple visiting many scenic reservoirs in that month. On August 12, 2021, a nearby witness dialed 911 claiming that a couple, later who was identified as Gabby and Brian, was fighting in front of the Moonflower Community Cooperative in Moab, Utah. The caller told the dispatcher that they saw a man slap a woman, and after the two ran up and down the sidewalk, the man hit the woman again and then drove off. Officers from the Moab City Police Department identified the van driving erratically near the entrance of the Arcs National Park and conducted a traffic stop. Upon the traffic stop, they found Gabby crying heavily in the passenger seat, where she told the officers the following.
Alright. What's your guys' names?
Gabby.
I'm Brian.
Gabby, Brian? Okay. What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm sorry, we've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
It was a long day. We were camping yesterday, and camping got flies and stuff. I'm sorry I hit the bump there.
I was distracting him from driving, I'm sorry.
Can I get you to step out of the vehicle for me, man?
Yeah.
Just hang tight right there. Do you mind if I take your keys and just put them on your hood?
You got it, buddy. I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you. Oh, no, you're fine.
Oh, it's just, some days I have really bad OCD, and
Okay.
I was just cleaning and straightening up the back of the van before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, I'm sorry that I'm so mean, because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I just get really frustrated. Not like mean towards him, I guess my vibe is like, I hear him be like in a bad mood. And I was just saying, I'm sorry if I'm in a bad mood. I've just been really stressed. I had so much work I was doing on my computer this morning.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I used to work at an all-organic juice bar, but I just quit my job.
Okay.
I was a nutritionist. That was my
That's
job.
cool.
And I just quit my job to travel across the country. And I'm trying to start a blog. I just have a blog and stuff. So I've been building my website. So I've just been really stressed. And he doesn't really believe that I could do any of it, so that's kind of been like I don't know, he's like down there, I don't know, we've just been fighting all morning, and he wouldn't let me in the car before, and then
Why wouldn't he let you in the car? Because of
told me
your OCD?
told me I needed to calm down, yeah, but I'm perfectly calm, I'm calm all the time, and he really stresses me out, and this is a rough morning.
Gabby initially downplayed the physical altercation, but after the police officer pointed out the physical marks that were visible on her arm and face and persuaded her to come clean, she admitted that Brian kept telling her to shut up and that he grabbed her face, which had produced an injury. Neither Gabby nor Brian wanted to press charges as a result of this incident, which was characterized by police as a mental breakdown rather than a domestic violence, which would have required an immediate arrest. The police separated the couple, arranging for Brian to spend a night at the Bowen Motel in Moab and for Gabby to stay in the van. Just 5 days after the police altercation, Brian and Gabby quickly realized that continuing the trip was no longer an option. So Brian took a flight from Salt Lake City to Tampa, Florida, leaving Gabby to herself while Gabby stayed several days at a Fairfield Inn near Salt Lake City. And Brian also returned on August 23rd to rejoin Gabby and to continue the trip. A witness said that on August 27th, between 1 to 2 p.m., she saw Brian and Gabby together at Mary Piglet's, a Tex-Mex restaurant in Jackson Hole in Wyoming. Per the witness, Brian had an argument with the manager, the waitress, the hostess, apparently about money, and was very aggressive. The witness later said that she saw Gabby return to the restaurant crying and apologizing for Brian's behavior. The restaurant staff confirmed via Instagram that the couple were indeed at the restaurant. This would ultimately be the last time that Gabby was seen alive. On September 1st, 2021, Brian returned alone to his parents' home in Florida, and subsequently on September 6th and 7th, left for a camping trip with his parents. 5 days after the camping trip, on September 11th, after not hearing from her daughter, Gabby, since late August, Gabby's mother filed a missing person report. And 4 days later, Brian was named a person of interest. Brian's parents hired a lawyer, and based on his advice, remained silent, refusing to talk to anyone about the case. Brian departed his home in Florida on September 13th and was reported missing on September 17th. Subsequently, on September 19th, the human remains matching the description of Gabby were found at the Spread Creek dispersed camping area in Wyoming, not far from where the Ford Transit Connect was previously observed. Her identity was confirmed, and an autopsy determined that the manner of death was homicide by blunt force injuries to the head and neck with manual strangulation, which occurred 3 to 4 weeks before the body was found, meaning that while Brian was enjoying his camping trip with his parents, he would have already murdered Gabby. On October 20th, Brian's skeletal remains was found at the Miyakachi Creek Environmental Park, in an area that had recently been underwater due to flooding. His cause of death could not be determined by an autopsy, and his remains were given to an anthropologist for further examination. On November 23rd, it was announced that the anthropologist concluded that Brian died of a self-inflicted gunshot, and the manner of death was deemed suicide. One of the most chilling aspects of this case was how the authorities were able to find the bodies of Gabby and Brian. Out of sheer coincidence, the family by the name of Bethunes were planning for a camping trip at the same creek that Brian and Gabby was in. On August 27, before Gabby was filed as a missing person, the Bethune family were scouting the areas of the creek for a cozy camping spot. Now, during their search, they encountered a white van which was from Florida, and they decided to approach the van and say hi, as the Bethune family were also from Florida. However, as they got close to the van, they noticed it was dark and unoccupied, and not thinking much, they continued on their camping trip. Just a few days later, Gabby's case was now widespread and was receiving national attention. The Bethune family, recalling the odd van encounter that they had earlier, decided to run back the tapes and realized that it was an exact match. The couple uploaded the video on YouTube, which by now had garnered millions of views, and it was the exact lead that tipped the FBI to the correct location of Petito's body.